Hello, and welcome to the Workouts for Older Men podcast. I am Skip LaCour. I am so glad you are joining me again for this podcast. I want to come to you on a very, very consistent basis. Got some really ambitious goals for this year. I want to get in your ear, at least for 5 or 10 minutes, every single day, just to help you prioritize your health and fitness. You're working out, you're exercising on a consistent basis, your nutrition habits, your eating habits, paying more attention to that so you get the great benefits of not just building muscle and losing body fat, but looking good, feeling good about yourself. Longevity, living a long, healthy, functional, productive life as long as possible. And that's especially important now that we're a little older. In this podcast, I want to maybe direct your attention, maybe for some give a wake-up call on this whole working out thing. And putting the priority where we need to start thinking now that we're a little bit older. We're men. We think we're young, that we see guys our age. I don't look that old, right? I still feel young. I'm just the same as when I was 25 or whatever we're trying to hold on to. The human body, it's only going to last so long. For some of us, hopefully it's longer than for others, but we got to take care of it, and we got to hit it head on. Not to get all freaked out and paranoid about our health, but to be proactive, take it more serious, maybe make the transition from how we viewed exercise and working out, or we didn't view it at all. We didn't prioritize it. We got to look at it differently than we did when we were a younger man. And sometimes, like I said, and myself included, sometimes well, that's for later because I'm still a younger man. At least we think so in our mind. And so we won't make this shift in the way we view our workouts, and we won't make the necessary adjustments to be healthy and fit and have that longevity because we're training and working out in a young man's thought process where it's not the same. I don't care what your body will look like. It's not the same. Or we'll continue to push it aside like we do when we were younger because, hey, I'm a lot more than my physical body. Sure, I still look better than most. Sure, I got a little bit of body fat, but hey, I got a loving wife and a great family and got a productive business. I'm more than my body. Maybe like you thought when you were a younger man. And I want this to be a wake-up call because if you are listening to this and you have health concerns, right? I talk to men, I coach men just like you all the time. If you need some help to get some more knowledge, get a program that's best for you and your lifestyle, that's efficient, that's effective. You need some accountability. I'm your man. Reach out to me. I want to help you do this. All right? But we got to change the way we look at this as we get older, even if our mind stays the way that it was when you were a younger man. Right? I have young kids, as I probably said 100 times already, and they're 10 and a half and just about 9, right? And so, they're everything in the world to me. Their development, all right? Being an older father, 61 years old, I've done a lot of things. I've accomplished a lot of things. I've been around the world, and I'm grateful being an older father to younger children because I feel as though I've done a lot of the things. I'm more than happy to devote all my willpower, focusing on each time, developing these children's lives, and to be strong and fit and happy and productive and have the tools to live a strong, empowering life, to get through all the inevitable challenges that are along the way, right? And so I've always been healthy and fit. Obviously, as a 6-time national champion, drug-free bodybuilder, that was absolutely important. You'll hear me talk about this podcast all the time. You hear it all over the fitness channels that it's 80% of the way you look and feel will be determined by your eating habits. Right? So I worked out, ate right, felt great. But one thing as I get older, is I'm realizing that, what it takes to build muscle, overload muscle, fat, that amount of energy. If you don't want to do that, okay, fine. Then you may exercise less, adjust. Maybe you have sore joints, achy joints. You physically can't do it. And, if you don't care about being ripped as much, you can lighten up on your diet, not just the macronutrients and the calories, but also the quality of food, right? You got to enjoy life, right? The way you look may not be as important as it was before. Maybe it was never, important. And so that mentality of, I train to be buff. I want to be big. I want to be powerful when I step in a room. I want to look young. I want, whatever it is, be attractive, whatever it is for you. And it's whatever it is for you. I'm more than supportive of it. Right? But when that becomes less important, well, why are you doing it? Right? And if we have a young mindset, we don't think about our health as much of why we're doing this. And so we don't eat the way we should because we still look fine. And we don't worry about working out the same. And so we might, all the complex involved, the time and energy that we spent as a younger man, or we thought we had to do when you were a younger man, the strict diet or the hours in the gym, right? We cut back on that because that's the muscle maybe isn't as important. But what about the health? If we have that young man mentality, even though we're getting older. Well, what I was talking about with my kids is I realized for me is I look fit, I look great, and I work out, not to the extreme level when I was a competitive bodybuilder. I don't want to be a bodybuilder more. Even with nutrition, eating more of the food that they eat, but still looking great, still looking lean, still having abs. Because you can do that, and still look good. You can have junk food in there. But one thing that I'm realizing, the older we get, all right, the more our bodies can't withstand all the processed food, the junk food, the overeating, the alcohol. Not when it's not about younger and I can look good. Your body can handle the abuse. I'll make it extreme for the sake of argument, of all the processed food, all the junk food, all the excess calories, not just about getting fat, about things like your cholesterol, your blood pressure, diabetes, pre-diabetes, right? Those health concerns that will turn into major health concerns and systemic health concerns and long-lasting health concerns that are so simple to address if you're proactive. And I don't know where you're in the process. Maybe you already are on medication because of your blood pressure. You're maybe already on medications because of your cholesterol. Maybe your sugar levels. You're on medicine to do that already. And I'm sure you remember the wake-up call that, hey, maybe this body isn't going to last forever like I just assumed when I was younger. Right? Maybe fitness has already taken a whole new meaning about longevity and health and being there for your children instead of building muscle and losing body fat and looking good. You can do them both. But at the same time, being healthy and fit and having and feeding the machine, not just to look aesthetically good on the outside, it's not exactly the same. Because like I said, you can get by with a lot of junk food. Right? And I thought about, how I've had to tighten up and how much better I feel, even though I look great. But now I'm thinking about longevity and energy. And when, even with my good habits, when I really clean it up, my amount of energy and sense of well-being. All right, forget about the muscles again. And I thought, oh my God, yeah, I've been saying this forever. 80% of the way you look and feel is the way you eat. But now my emphasis is not just my body, because my body was fine. It was more than fine. And it made me think, well, my kids can get away with eating this junk food because they're young. The body can withstand it when you're younger, when you're kids. All the kids eat that way, right? Don't want to turn them to a freak or a robot getting so, just eating one ingredient foods. Or do you? Just because they can withstand it, is that good for them? These processed foods, these preservatives, sodium, the incentive to get us addicted to these processed foods that have such a long shelf life, they sell them millions of them, make tons of money. Is that good for us? Is it good? So is that really good for the kids? But is it good for us when we're older? It's a different way of thinking, right? You don't want the call that you have high blood pressure, that you have cholesterol, that you have diabetes. Not when you can exercise and make simple changes to your lifestyle and your eating habits. And again, you won't make it so complex. You'll just eat the right foods, eliminate certain foods, and walk twice a day. Get your steps in to be healthy and fit. You can add all the muscle building and all the technique too. So this is for a different type of older man, right? When he's matured, he's more than his body, but he knows he's got to take care of his body. It's a different way. If you're following the younger influencers, you think they think about this stuff? Not at all. I didn't think about it. Maybe you're not thinking about it. That's what this podcast episode is all about. If you need some help, reach out. But think about, what if you just improve your eating habits? Not for the muscle building, not for the fat loss, not to get rid of your dad bod, not to feel young and energized or look younger than your age, but to live a long, healthy life. Think about your parents. How have they aged? Hopefully well. But if they haven't, how do they do basic exercise? What kind of diet do they have? What kind of burden are they? Which they don't want to be. I mean, that's what we have. They have. You're there to help. I get that. But you want to have yourself taken care of mentally, emotionally, financially, health, and fitness-wise. You want to be able to take care of yourself as long as you can, so you're not, you don't have to worry about being a burden on anybody else, because you can take care of it now. It's a shift in the way you're thinking. Again, just because you might have a good amount of muscle, just because you don't have all this excess body fat, you may not like the way you look, but you look fine in clothes, you look better than men your age. I can already tell you're probably in that position, or you could be with 6 months at work, just by listening to this podcast. But the shift, remember, just because you look good in the way you're working out and exercise or not, at this age, should it just be about building muscle, losing body fat, and look good or look younger? Or can we do it both and think about longevity, well-being, how we're feeding ourselves, what type of exercise, right? Again, if you need some help, reach out. Well, that's going to do it for this Workouts for Old Men podcast, giving you some things to think about, and it'll augment, it'll bolster, it'll validate all the other things that I talk about, not just here on the Workouts for Old Men podcast, but on my skiplacour.com website and all my social media platforms. Reach out if you need help. I've been more than happy to talk about one-on-one coaching and how it can help you take your physical appearance, right, your mental acuity, your mood, your attitudes, but also your longevity to a higher level. All right, let's take on the day with a sense of urgency. We have to when we're a little bit older. We've got more time behind us than we do in front of us. Have a great day.